I want to show you how you can animate using React hooks. We're going to make a custom hook, and we're going to use that to take this circle in this SVG here and animate it from the left to the right. And we're going to restart that animation every time we click this circle here. So to start, we're going to make a new hook called use animation. You can call it whatever you want, but it should start with the word use because that's kind of React convention. This is going to take a duration, and it's going to return, say, just the progress of the way through the animation. We'll just say 0 for now. So down here in our app, we'll say const progress equals use animation, and we'll use that thing. For our duration here, we should probably give it a duration, maybe, 1000 milliseconds for a 1 second long animation. And here, instead of the center X of this circle being 50, we'll make it progress times by 100. Not 1000, 100. That way, when the progress is at 0, it's on this side of the screen, and when the progress is 1, the animation is complete. So instead of returning a number here, we want to return, say, like the actual progress of the animation. So to do that, here we'll say const progress, and we're going to array this structure here. So progress, set progress equals use state 0, and then down here we can actually return progress, and that will give us pretty much the exact same thing. 0, 1, but this is actually a React state hook. So whenever we call set progress, progress will update, and then the ball will move to reflect whatever the new progress of the animation actually is. In addition to the progress kind of state, we also need another piece of state that will be the start time, that will show kind of when the animation started. Set start time equals use state, and we want date.now. So the reason we're doing start time as a piece of state, not as just like a constant, is because we are going to be able to change the start time to basically reset the animation. So to reset the animation, we're going to set the start time to the current time, and what that will do is basically just restart the animation. So what we need to do now is actually create kind of our animation loop, and we're going to do that inside of use effect, which is another hook that comes with React. By the way, you need to make sure that you're importing use state and use effect from React before you use state and use effect. I did that before we started, but if you didn't, do it, because otherwise your stuff won't work. And we're going to run this effect whenever the start time or the duration have changed. This is going to be essentially restarting the animation from scratch. So what we want to do here is we want to make a function. I'm just going to use arrow function syntax because it's cool, to create a function called frame that will run every frame of our animation. And every frame, what we want to do is we want to name, we want to get the current time now, which is going to be date.now minus the start time. So this is going to get the current time minus the start time, which is the number of milliseconds since the animation has begun. And what we want to do is we want to say if now is less than duration, we want to queue another frame to run. But currently frame's only a function and it's not running at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to run it once, and then up here we'll say let queued frame, because whenever we queue something or do a callback inside of an effect, we need to be able to undo it later. So we need a place to hold a reference to the frame that we're going to queue. And then we can say queued frame equals request animation frame, frame. And then that will run the frame every time. That will run the frame function every frame until now is greater than duration. So basically it's going to automatically stop itself when the animation finishes. But now that we're constantly requesting these frames, we need to be able to undo that request. So we need to return a function that undoes whatever this effect does. And in that case, all we did is request an animation frame, so we need to cancel that request and pass in the queued frame. Now what we need to do is we need to actually kind of update our progress every frame. So we're going to set progress, and what we're going to set it to is math.min, which takes the lower of two numbers with 1, and then now divided by duration. And if we did this right, there you go. You can see the ball over here, whenever I refresh, moves across the screen. The reason we did math.min is because we're checking if now is less than duration, right? So if now is a tiny bit less than duration, the next frame it might be slightly over. So our progress might be 1 point something something something. We want it to be clamped from 0 to 1. So here we're basically just doing that and making sure our progress is never greater than 1. So now, notice how I had to completely refresh our entire app here to reset the animation. What if I wanted to do that by clicking this button? Well, what we'd need to do is we'd need to return something else other than just the progress of this animation. We'd also need to return, say, a function to reset. And down here we need to array destructure that progress, and we'll bring in reset as well. But reset's undefined. We don't have a reset yet. So what we're going to do is, using arrow syntax again, we'll say const reset is equal to a new function, and all that function is going to do is set the start time to be the current, not date.name. Why do you keep doing that, VS Code? Date.now. So now whenever I run this here, you can see that we have a reset, but we still need to bind clicking this circle to the reset. So to do that down here, we can say on click equals reset. So now when I click on this, you can see we reset the animation, which is kind of cool. But what if we kind of wanted to use this somewhere else other than just to kind of move the circle across the screen? Maybe we wanted to move another circle from the top of the screen to the bottom. So we'll create another circle here, and here progress, we'll say progress times 100 for the Y instead of the X. And there we go. Now we have two circles animating, and we can take this entire SVG, wrap it inside of a div so that we can add other elements. Let's add a paragraph that says progress with a capital P and floor progress times 100%. And that will basically round our progress to the lowest percent. Maybe I should use round instead of floor. And then chuck a percent sign after it. So progress 0, 100. That's weird. Oh, okay, I'm rounding the actual progress, not progress times 100. So I was rounding progress to the nearest number, because at 0 and 1, it's going to be either 0 or 1. So we're rounding it like that. There we go. So you can see now that we have a button here that when we click it, it will restart the animation. And that's how you can create a use animation hook in React.